from a low life, but now people call me the king. Tearing it up with every lyric that I bring to the table. Because I'm willing and able, I'm in more homes than Comcast cable. I got the skill that'll rattle your brain. I'm a threat like Saddam Hussein, everybody know my name. Joe Habib's a top soldier, kid they should've told you. You really need to pack a lunch. My words hit hard just like a Tyson punch. So, give me a chance, I bet you I can make it dance. Show me your girl, I bet you I get in her pants. I'm breaking egos and money is what I'm stacking. Joe Habib on the mic, you know I'm down for action. Shout out to Make Beats Sir and the Beat Smith and the whole Rope a Dope radio crew. Yeah. All right, what's going on, everybody? Good morning. Let's get right into it. The big hot news: Canelo Alvarez signs, according to Turkey Al Sheikh, a 4-fight deal. 2 fights this year in 2025 and 2 fights next year in 2026. PBC has promoted Canelo's last 2 fights, so whether or not they're going to be involved in these 4 fights remains to be seen. Seems as though, according to what I've heard from people in the know, that Canelo is on a fight to fight with PBC. There's no commitment, to my knowledge, but again, that's just what I've heard. I don't know the specific deal that he has with PBC, if he has one at all. But what's being reported, and it's not just being reported, it's actually been confirmed by Turkey Al Sheikh himself, that Canelo Alvarez will be fighting with Riyadh for his next 4 fights. So definitely Turkey Al Sheikh will be involved. Now, there are 4 fights. A lot of people are already saying, well, this fight better be in there, that fight better be in there. Again, there's when you make a commitment to fight under somebody, under someone's banner, or under someone's promotional company, or you make a commitment to work with the promotional company, or you make a commitment to work with an organization who's going to help with the promotion and financing of your fights, right? Because Turkey Al Sheikh's the one who's paying these rights fees to the broadcaster, right? So he's the one who's cutting the checks. So you're making a commitment to that person that you're going to be fighting under their banner, but the fights are still left to be determined, because when you sign to fight somebody, your opponent has to also agree, and your opponent will get their contract. You get your contract for each individual fight. So each individual fight is negotiated separately. So you can't just sign a deal and say, "Oh, these 4 fights are in there." Now there can be discussions of what those 4 fights are going to be. All right, there can be discussions on um, what's expected, but again, each fight has its own set of contracts. So we don't know for sure what these 4 fights are going to be. I'm sure there's been talk of potential opponents, but nothing obviously is set in stone. But one thing we can say, it looks to be certain, at least as of now, is this Jake Paul fight is now off the table. So let's take a look here what Jake Paul posted today. Okay. Let's take a look and read what Jake Paul said. He said, "Breaking news: Canelo Alvarez ducked me, Jake Paul, and is now an owned slave with no regard for pride of Mexican people who support him on U.S. soil. It's not surprising when his whole career he has done nothing for the sport of boxing outside the ring. I'm the new face of boxing. You cannot have the biggest fight of 2025 without my name involved. When all your events tank and lose money, you will all realize who the king of the sport is. 28 years old, biggest fight in boxing history, my own boss, not owned. 5 years in, all of your felines want to see me fail." I don't know if that's a misprint. Well, whatever. All of your felines want to see me fail, but God has other plans. It's the era of good, the era of the elephant. It's the era of MVP. Okay, I mean, that's obviously Jake Paul's vantage point. He can say he's the face of boxing all he wants, but we all know, Canelo Alvarez generates the most revenue in the sport. Now, again, Jake Paul had that fight with Mike Tyson, big event, but I would argue that he's still not able to generate the same amount of revenue for himself that Canelo Alvarez does. So if Canelo Alvarez is getting paid substantial sums of money to fight pretty much anyone, then he's basically winning. So people want to talk about the whole loyalty thing, or Canelo's whether or not Canelo was going to be loyal to Eddie Hearn. Canelo's always been and has been about good business. If you look at Canelo Alvarez's career, in my opinion, I don't think he's done one thing wrong. Oh, well, he fought Mayweather too early. Did he really? Did he really fight Mayweather too early? Because fighting Mayweather after being a two-weight world champion, a unified world champion, right? 23 years old, win, lose, or draw, you already had enough time to rebuild. Whether you lost, okay, you had plenty of time to rebuild your career, which Canelo Alvarez did, and he became a superstar regardless. Right now, he's the highest paid athlete in boxing by far. It's not even close, right? You look at all the endorsements, whatever. So there's really never been a bad. And you can even look at the Bivol fight. Oh, that was you shouldn't have taken the Bivol fight, but no one was saying that going in. I mean, he was a big favorite. He was a 5-1 favorite going in. Most people were picking him to win against Bivol, right? And he lost. He lost to Bivol, but again, what was he able to do? Go back down to 168 and still get big fights down at 168, right? So again, this man has always been about good business. People want to talk about loyalty, oh, legacy. The legacy's already set. The guy's going to walk into the Boxing Hall of Fame first ballot. He's got plenty of accolades. He's got some good opponents on the record. He's walking into the Hall of Fame. So at this point of his career, going on, I think, his 21st year in the sport, of course, he's going to close out the career looking for the biggest fights financially for him. Again, this is about good business. When you look at the situation and you were to put yourself in the same position, would any of us be doing anything different? If you're being promised large sums of money to fight lower risk opponents as opposed to higher risk opponents, then what are you going to do? As much as I wanted to see that David Benavidez fight as a fan, I just I just knew that towards the end, towards the end of the whole debacle, right? Towards the end of the whole drama show that these two guys have been going on in recent months, I just knew that as long as Canelo Alvarez keeps getting paid large sums of money to fight low risk opponents, then there's no incentive for him to fight the David Benavidez fight. So if he's going to be getting large guarantees with back end pay per view revenue, if this guy's going to make upwards of $35-40 million a fight, fighting lower risk opponents that, the outcomes are pretty much predetermined, right? Obviously, it was hard to pick against him against John Ryder. It was hard to pick against him against Edgar Berlanga, Jaime Munguia, Jermel Charlo. He was a heavy favorite in all those fights. But again, if then he's going to take those fights. It's just the way it is. That's the way the business has been. That's the way the business has been, and always will be. It's just the way it is. Oh, well, why are you defending? I'm just defending reality. Simple as that. People want to talk about loyalty. People want to talk about legacy, and at the end of the day, the legacy is already intact. Hall of Fame is already guaranteed. Now it's about the money, right? So you're just gonna have to accept that he's in a different stage of his career right now, and if he's going to get these big purses, then this is what's going to happen. So let's take a look at what Turkey Al Sheikh. Let's take a look at Turkey Al Sheikh, what he had posted on Twitter here. Let me see if I can find. Oh yeah, let's see what we can do here. Let's take a look at Turkey Al Sheikh, what he posted here on Twitter. Okay, just give me 1 second here. Okay. And this is what he posted yesterday. Let's hear what he has.
with the line.
Yes. Posted yesterday on.
Canelo in Riyadh in May, the big fight in the history of boxing. In September, then two more fights in 26. Don't miss with the line. Canelo.
All right. All right. And let's take a look at another one of his tweets that he posted. And Terence Crawford actually, let me see if I can find this one here. Terence Crawford actually responded to this other tweet, which was quite interesting. So this kind of gives us a hint on possibly what the plan is. So let's actually take a look at this one. And let me read this one to you guys. You guys can kind of figure this out for yourselves. You tell me what you think is going to happen. So Turkey Al Sheikh, as he just said in that video, he said, "Don't mess with the lion. 4 fights for Canelo with Riyadh season. The deal is done. A lion doesn't lose sleep over opinion of a sheep. Fear the lion, not the jungle." So I don't know. I don't know what that. I don't know who the sheep is. Who he's referring to. I don't know if that's Jake Paul trying to flex on Turkey Al Sheikh, and he's basically saying, "Well, I'm the one that's cutting the checks, right? So I'm the one that's going to determine what's going on here." And Terence Crawford responds to this tweet saying, "I'm waiting on Canelo in September and going to shock the world in Riyadh." So I know people have been skeptical about what that September fight is. It's been on again, off again with Terence Crawford, just as it's been on again, off again with Jake Paul. But now it looks like the fight is dead, 100%, right? So Turkey Al Sheikh pretty much confirmed that there's going to be a big fight in May, and there's going to also be another big fight in September. So I'm suspecting that the fight in September, if I was to guess, I would be 99% sure. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. I've been wrong several times in the past, but I'm banking on that fight with Crawford in September. I think both of these guys, Crawford and Canelo, will have interim fights while they're waiting to fight each other in September. And yeah, I think that fight will happen, right? I think that's going to happen, that fight. So again, Canelo Alvarez, this is a huge move here, big move. I know people saying, "Oh well, Canelo bent the knee. He finally is under Turkey." No, again, it's always business with Canelo. You guys, well, not all you guys, but a lot of you guys try to make this personal. You have these people on Twitter who have these you have these factions. You have the PBC people, you have the Matchroom people, you have the anti Canelo people, you have the pro Benavidez people, you have all these people, right, who have their own agendas, which is baffling to me because again, Canelo Alvarez is always going to do what's best for Canelo Alvarez. He's always going to be loyal, in my opinion, to his family, close friends, and himself. He's always gonna be committed to doing and making the best business moves that are out there for himself. So everyone wants to talk about all this other shit, right? A lot of it's projection. Canelo doesn't give a fuck, you know, about how you feel about PBC. Canelo Alvarez doesn't give a fuck about how you feel about Turkey Al Sheikh, right? Because again, let's keep it a buck. All you guys out there who were criticizing Canelo Alvarez, ask yourself this question: would you do anything different than what he's doing? If you could make a ton of money fighting guys like Berlanga and Munguia instead of fighting guys like David Benavidez, then you're going to do it. So I understand, and you should understand by now how this game works, right? And if you want to sit there and say, oh, well, this fight better be included in the deal, bro, no fight is included in the deal. There's no fights yet. The commitment is just to fight under the Riyadh season banner. That's the commitment. Okay? Whatever the fights are, that's to be determined. All right? And whether or not it's David Benavidez, I don't foresee that fight being in the four. I could be wrong. I just don't see that fight being in the four. One fight that I would almost bet my life on that's going to happen is that one in September. I do believe that fight in September is going to happen with Crawford, but other than that, I don't know. And I'm a little surprised the Jake Paul fight didn't happen. I was like, I know people look at that and say, "Oh, it's a circus fight, whatever." I wouldn't mind seeing Canelo Alvarez knock out Jake Paul. I would think that would. I'm sorry, I think that would be hilarious. I think that would be hilarious, right? So, and all the people out there that are complaining, oh, better be Benavidez in that deal. All right, whatever. I mean, I don't think Canelo really gives a fuck whether or not Benavidez is in that deal or not. I don't think Turkey Al Sheikh 100% really gives a fuck. I mean, he could hope for that fight to happen. He could want that fight to happen, but he already committed to 4 fights, right? He already committed to 4 fights for Canelo, right? It was the same thing with the DAZN situation. De La Hoya promised DAZN, he made a verbal agreement with DAZN that when Canelo initially signed that huge, I think it was I want to say it was a 11 fight deal or whatever. It was a huge deal, crazy deal, which was nuts to me because you're going to make such a long term commitment without even knowing what the landscape is going to be in those divisions that you're going to be fighting in. But regardless, he made that deal, and then he didn't check back with Canelo Alvarez. And what did Canelo Alvarez do? He ended up suing DAZN, right? And that they ended up settling out, and Canelo was free and clear, right? So once again, you make the commitment, okay? You make the commitment. Both parties agreed to dissolve that deal, right? And Canelo moved on. So you want to argue? Jake Paul can say whatever he wants about I'm my own boss, bro. Again, the boss is the person who's paying the rights fee to the broadcaster, and in turn pays the promoter, and then the promoter pays the fighter. That's how this works. So this whole thing about being your own boss, whatever, everybody works with somebody else. Someone always is going to be the one cutting the check. Unless you're cutting your own checks, you're not your own boss. Unless you're signing your own checks and paying yourself, you're not your own boss. That's just the way it works. So you can sit there and we can argue and go back and forth. You guys can have your own personal beefs on Twitter or YouTube, whatever you want to do, go and argue. But this was always about business. Always about business. So this May fight, I have no idea. I have no idea what this May fight's going to be. Pretty confident that the September fight's going to be Crawford. And to be honest with you, I think the September fight is intriguing. I do think Canelo will win the fight, but I still think it's an intriguing fight. I do think it's an intriguing fight. Seeing Crawford moving up. I mean, we saw Jamel move up, and I would anticipate that Crawford would do better than Jamel. But again, he would also have a different approach, take a different approach to the fight. So that's what makes the fight intriguing. Will Crawford box and move like he did against Postal, or will he stand in spots like he's done in his most recent fights? And is that even by choice, or is he just slowing down a little bit with his legs? And does he have to stand and trade more? Does he have to stay in the pocket longer? Right? Is that adjustment by design, or is it just because he's gotten older and because he has to fight that way now? These are all question marks that make this fight intriguing. Like, will Crawford really box and move as much as he can in the fight and try to pick and choose his spots carefully, or will he have the mentality that, yeah, obviously I'm not going to be reckless in this fight, but I got to get my respect here? And Crawford has that type of mentality. He's that kind of he has those primal instincts where he likes to fight. He likes to fight. He's got that mean streak in him. He's got that mean streak in him. The question is, what happens if he gets tapped real hard by Canelo? Will that mean streak dissipate? That's the big question we have to ask ourselves, right? So again, this is an interesting move, very interesting move. I like the Crawford fight in September. Would I have liked the Benavidez fight more? Of course I would, but again, just accepted the fact Benavidez is at 175. I don't even know how long Benavidez is going to stay at 175. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes up to cruiserweight next, right? I said this earlier on the Ringside Reporter podcast last week after Benavidez beat Morrell. I said, I don't think, and this is my opinion, if Better Beef wins again, that Benavidez will fight Better Beef. I do think him and his team would much rather fight Bivol. They've sparred with Bivol in the past. Obviously, sparring is a different story, but Bivol is not the heavy hitter that Better Beef is, right? He's not the heavy hitter that Better Beef is. It's just a different style. So it's a style where Better Beef is actually a lot more active in terms of punch output than Bivol is. So you're gonna have to deal with that. You're gonna have to deal with the pressure. Like, Better Beef is almost like another version of Benavidez with more power, in my opinion. Whereas Bivol's more of a little bit less voluminous with the punching, more economical with the punching, more of a counter puncher type. I mean, he can take the lead, but he likes to counter punch more. I think style wise, I think Benavidez feels like he matches up better with Bivol, and he doesn't have to deal with that power and strength of Better Beef. So again, I think if Better Beef wins again, I would not be surprised if Benavidez goes up to cruiserweight and tries to challenge Zito Ramirez. Right? I just got a text that they're trying to push for Skull, the IBF champ, trying to push for him in May. That's what I'm hearing right now. Someone just sent me a text. William Skull, Riyadh season in May for the Riyadh banner actually. So looks like Skull may be the guy in May for Canelo Alvarez to attempt to become undisputed again, right? So now he can be two-time undisputed, and then the fight in September will be for all the marbles, right? It'll be for all the marbles. So I'm hearing it's going to be Skull in May. Again, I don't know how true that is. I just got the text from someone that is somewhat close to the situation. They've been right pretty much with most of the information they've been giving me. But according to this person, also it looked like that Jake Paul fight was pretty much done, really close to being done, and I don't fully understand how he said it was a turn down of events. There could have been something that happened. I don't know. It seemed like there was some type of breakdown in the negotiations, because that fight was really close, according to this person. So I don't know. I really don't know. how that fight broke down, but it did look like it was really, really close. And I'm a little surprised that they didn't do that fight. I'm a little surprised they didn't do that fight. To be perfectly honest with you. So yeah. So so right now at this point, it looks like Skull may be the front runner here, right? Canelo Alvarez could go for undisputed once again, two-time undisputed. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But Jake Paul is definitely off the table. I don't think that fight's going to happen at this point now. Um, you can see Jake Paul's reaction, bro. If you're the A side, you're not the one that the A side's not the one. The person with the leverage is not the one that goes on Twitter and complains that he didn't get the fight. You don't see Canelo on here complaining and worrying about the Jake Paul fight, but you do see Jake Paul, him being the one upset that he couldn't get that fight with Canelo. So, and the fight was supposed to be a cruiserweight too. Canelo was willing to go up to cruiserweight to fight Jake Paul. I don't know if there was going to be a catch. I don't know. Again, I'm just speculating on a lot of things here. I don't know if there was an issue with the weight. If Canelo said, "Hey, we got to do a catch weight at 185," and Jake Paul was like, "No, no, 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 no catch weight." Again, these are all just my opinions. I'm speculating on why that fight broke down. I don't even know if it was for the cash, but yeah, May is right around the corner. So we're in February right now, early February. I would not be surprised that if by the end of the month we don't get an announcement soon. So I'll I'm guessing that we'll get an announcement by the end of February, and I do think William Skull will be the opponent, and I do think Canelo Alvarez will become the undisputed super middleweight champion once again. So he could be able to call himself two-time undisputed, right? That's kind of cool, and just makes the fight with Crawford even that more significant. Um, if Crawford could become undisputed in two weight classes again, excuse me, three weight classes, not two weight classes, three weight classes. Apologize for that. Yeah, if he could become undisputed in three weight classes, not only that, winning, jumping up two weights. Another thing I heard too was Crawford would take a interim fight as well. I'm not sure if it would be in May or not, but he was supposed to. There was reports he would be taking an interim fight, and he would be fighting Derevyanchenko. He would be moving up to fight Derevyanchenko, and I think it would be at 168. So he'd be moving up to fight Derevyanchenko at 168. I'm not sure if it would be a full 168-pound fight or if it would be a catchweight, but I did hear that there were rumors and reports that possibly Terence Crawford would be having an interim fight too, because Turki Al-Sheikh loves to have those interim fights before he puts the big one on. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. I mean, I prefer they go right into the fight. If it was if they're gonna fight, I would prefer that Crawford and Canelo fight in May. That's just my opinion because I don't like these interim fights because anything can happen. You can have an upset, you can have an injury, anything can happen, right? And we saw what happened, with Joshua and Wilder. That fight blew up, right? We also saw the situation with Fury and Ngannou. That fight almost blew up too, right? So anything can happen in these things. I know Turkey Al-Sheikh, this is kind of like his formula. He likes to build. I mean, I don't even think you'd have to build up the Crawford Canelo fight, but I don't know. He has this tendency to want to do these interim fights in between. So we'll see what happens. Hey, what's up, G Funky? Good morning, brother. Yeah, so I don't know, but once again, it's always about the business, and Canelo is showing you that again. So you guys want to have all these other discussions, but this was always about. And to be honest with you, at this stage, why wouldn't it be? Right? The legacy is set, as I said 1,000 times in this video. Right? The accomplishments are there. He's walking in the Hall of Fame easily, without question. So at this point now, it's all about making the biggest event you can make. It's all about making the most money you can make, and whether people like it or not, I honestly don't think Canelo Alvarez really gives a shit because he is going to have his diehard fans. right? I think the Crawford fight, you could. I mean, I had this discussion with Eric, and he says that he believes the Crawford fight would be bigger than the Benavidez fight. An argument could be made. I mean, what fight? Like if you have a choice to fight Terrence Crawford or fight David Benavidez, and again, with all respect to Crawford, I do think the Crawford fight is, in my opinion, a much easier fight for Canelo than the Benavidez fight would be. And if you're going to make just as much and probably more fighting Crawford, then again, it's a no-brainer. Well, Pete, it's not about what I want. It's not about what I care. It's about me being realistic and logical here. Okay, I deal in reality. I live in the world that I have, not the world I want. If I don't get what I want, I don't throw a temper tantrum. I understand that in life, I'm not going to get everything I want. I'm 55 years old. I'm not going to go on social media and fucking cry if I don't get everything I want and start calling people names and saying things about people that I would never say to their fucking face. Walk up to Canelo Alvarez and call him a duck to his face. I'd love to see any one of these fucking idiots on Twitter do that. I just would. Oh, B, why you defend? No, I am speaking facts and talking reality, right? And that's the problem with social media. You have these people that can put up fake icons, fake names. They can say whatever they want, and they have no accountability, right? So it is what it is. So that is 100% correct, G Funky. We were all twisting and turning here in the wind, figuring out what was going to happen. I was almost positive and sure from what was being said that Jake Paul fight was going to happen. And again, I'm just going to be honest. I would have loved to see Canelo Alvarez knock that kid out. I would have laughed. I would have laughed. I wouldn't have hated it. I wouldn't have hated it. If I'm being real, I would not have hated it. So I gotta just tell the truth here. All right, guys, that's about all I got here, man. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you check out the Ringside Reporter podcast every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you check out the Populist Perception, the new political show that we do on the Populist Perception podcast. That's our new channel. Myself, Maestro, and Ludo, we do that political channel on Sundays, usually either 9:30 or 10ish in the morning. So make sure you check that out. And Maestro and I do Sucker Punch show on Saturdays generally. We'll do like 2 hours of 1 hour, two different topics. So we usually do that on Saturdays. I'm not sure if we're going to do one tomorrow, but we possibly will. So keep an eye out for that. I'll definitely tweet that out and post that on the YouTube community page if we're going to do that. All right, guys, till next time, Beav is out. I will talk to y'all soon. As always, have a great day. I will catch you later.
A former lowlife, but now people call me the king. Tearing it up with every lyric that I bring to the table. Because I'm willing and able, I'm in more homes than Comcast cable. I got the skill that'll rattle your brain. I'm a threat like Saddam Hussein, everybody know my name. Joe Habib's a top soldier, kid they should've told you, you really need to pack a lunch. My words hit hard just like a Tyson punch, so give me a chance, I bet you I can make it dance. Show me a girl, I bet you I get in her pants. I'm breaking egos and money is what I'm stacking. Joe Habib on the mic, you know I'm down for action. Shout out to Make Beats Sir and the Beat Smith and the whole Rope-A-Dope radio crew. Yeah.